Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Elite City Podcast. We're going to be talking about how to make storylines in AEW a little more interesting, but we have a couple minor topics to handle first. Mr. Rick, first off, how have you been?
Yeah, outside of the World Series, I've been good. I was legitimately sad for a while, but I've recovered, and I think I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, that's good that that you're feeling better. It sucks that you guys lost.
It sucks to go to Game 7 and lose and like extra innings, and then you're just like, oh, now it's just a whole other season again, and maybe
there's the hope for next year, but until it's this time next year, like any moment your season could go down.
And there's always just like the season starts again, and like this game doesn't really mean anything. Like, it kind of sucks. Yeah, but anyway, Blood and Guts soon, so we'll start with that a little bit.
Yeah, they're doing 2, and I know you have an opinion on it, as do I.
Yeah, do you think there should be 2?
No, it should just be the ladies. Give them their moment to shine. Like I told you privately. Now I could see if this would have been year 2 and Tony's not excuse, but Tony could have said, oh, we already have the rings there. We know the logistics of what it costs and blah, blah, blah. But that Blood and Guts is a success by itself in just the name.
Right.
So to force a second one down everybody's throat, like, again, I shouldn't say force down your throat. Like, it's going to be a crazy match. Everybody knows that. But to have give them their moment, their time. It's a better story also. Yeah,
it's not even just like, oh, the women should main event because the women should main event. It's like, It's a better story. It's a more interesting, like, they've been building this for a while. And like the stuff with the Death Riders, like, it's Darby already beat the Death Riders. He made Mox tap like last month. And like, they don't need, like, I thought this should have ended when Hangman beat Mox, but then, okay, fine. We need to tie up the Darby beating Mox. So the Darby beat Mox. Why are we still, like, how many times do you need to beat Mox? Like, it just seems like, I don't know. They could have ended this seems like it's unnecessary.
Yeah. And I think it's about time, excuse me. I think it's about time that we start to see some infighting amongst the Death Riders. Like, not even necessarily break them up, but like, Mox is supposed to be your leader. And, if me and you were, I don't know, if we were on a hockey team together and all of a sudden you were like the star player and you started to suck, like, I'd call you out. Like, dude, like, do we need to do something here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, doesn't have to
like Mox tapped to Darby and to Darby, and pretty quickly too. Like, I thought that was the point of the storyline, right? Like, Darby wouldn't quit at all, but then Mox quit like pretty easily against Darby in that match. And I thought that the story was now going to be Claudia would be like, hey man, what are you talking about? I thought our whole thing was we don't quit and we fight forever. And like, now you quit. What's going on? And then, split it up. Have like, Yuta side with Claudio, but then Danny Garcia's on Mox's, like, not even like an actual, like, oh, now we're split into 2 groups.
Right.
But
just infighting amongst them. So.
Yeah, because that gives them something to do amongst themselves. So it's not like, hey, now this other group of guys is rising up against the Death Riders. Like, we've done that for like a year. Wasn't the last Blood and Guts match the Death Riders?
Yeah, because isn't that where Pac got hurt?
Yeah, and that was like a year ago.
Literally, he just came back. So he got hurt in the Blood and Guts. Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, we don't need, this is too much. It's too long. It's too dragged, and it's not even just 2 Blood and Guts matches is too much, which I think it might be. Like, they're going to be good. I'm not saying they're not going to be good. They're going to be great matches. But I just don't think it's needed right now.
Yeah, it's not. Like I said, like, the match now sells itself. Like, you could have just said it was Blood and Guts night and not even announced if it was a men's or women's, and people would have been like, oh, we know what that is. That's great. And so,
and the women's match has been built up. Like, everyone knew. I think months and months ago, even before they announced it, we talked about it. Oh, it seems like they're setting up a women's Blood and Guts match.
Yes.
And they did a good job with it. So they should have just left it at that.
I agree. Here's my question to you. Do they open and close the show with Blood and Guts?
I think it makes sense. I saw someone online say that Hangman and Hobbs is a Falls Can Anywhere match. So I feel like they're going to have the one Blood and Guts. I hope the men's Blood and Guts opens. And then they have Hangman and Mox, like Hangman and Hobbs. So I like start off with like a brawl backstage or something. And they fight around the arena. And there's 10 minutes of that. And then in that time, they like clean up the ring and they do
That
whatever.
makes yeah, that makes perfect sense, if because in those matches are insane. You never know, you literally might have to change, like, the entire mat. It could be
Right, like,
ripped
someone's gonna
yeah,
bleed all over it, yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, that I would definitely do it. I'd open the show and then close the show. I wonder if we'll find out between now and next week if we're gonna get one of those, dynamites where they guarantee extra time.
Yeah, I think they've said haven't they said that it's, like, 2.5 hours or something?
Oh, okay, there you go.
I don't
Well,
know if they said that or that was just, like, what, like, Meltzer said, but I heard somewhere that it was supposed to be 2.5 hours.
because, I mean, that would make the most sense because if you're gonna open and close the show with it, I mean, those matches themselves go long, and you can have an idea going into your main event, like, you can have it planned out a little better, like, "Oh, okay, we're going on at 10 to 10, but we have till 10:30. We have 40 full
Right.
minutes,"
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, especially because now they made the women's match even bigger, which I think is a little weird.
true. Yeah, me and you were talking, off camera or not camera, off audio, I guess. Um, just adding the 2 extra people, like, the match in itself is so nuts, like, not that that's gonna take away from it, but from a production standpoint, like, the producers are gonna be going bananas because so much is gonna be happening, and then you
Right.
add 2 more people, like, eeh.
Yeah, like, I get that there were injuries, but, like, they replaced them
Right.
one for one, right? Like, Queen
Yeah.
Aminata got hurt and Mina replaced her, and then Penelope Ford got hurt and Marina Shafir, which I like that. I think that makes sense. But
Yeah.
then, like, Mercedes and Stat up until this point, like, Stat has kind of been involved with the stuff with Willow, but Mercedes hasn't at all, really. And then they're suddenly just like, now they're in this match too. It just seems like they built it up so well with like the 5-on-5 and then
Right.
ruin. I get why, like, behind the scenes they did that because I'm sure Mercedes probably wants to be in this match and
Totally.
they want her in this match because she's a big name. But if they were going to put her in it, they should have done it like before, like a week and a half before the show. Been like, she's also in it. Like, it just seems a little like, I don't
Right.
know. I don't know what you think.
No, I totally agree with you. Now it's my own little theory. Do you think that because personally I do think this, do you think Mercedes might have went to Tony and was like, "Hey, not only do I want to be in this match, but I want it like I'm gonna bleed. I'm gonna be a mess when this is over," to just totally wash her hands 100% of Sasha Banks and WWE.
Yeah, I think she wants that, and I think she also wants to like be versatile, right? She wants to like be the person who can have a technical match, and then she can go to Japan
True.
and have a match there, and then she can go to Mexico and have a match there, and
True.
she can brawl, and she can, yeah. That's the last thing she hasn't done. She hasn't done like a hardcore, like
Right.
brutal match, and I think she wants that. I get why she's in it, but if they were going to put
Totally.
her in it, they should have like explained it a bit better. Maybe had like Harley, Harley's trying to get Willow and Stat back together.
Yeah.
They could have had Harley go, oh, who'd be great to have in this match? Chris Statlander. And Will be like, no, I don't want Chris Statlander in this match. We don't get along. And had that be a thing. And then finally, Mercedes is like, fine, you want to be in this match? I want to be in this match too. Like, they could have added something
Right.
to it instead of just like, did they even announce? They just like put them in the match, right? There was no
No,
story
that
reason for
was
them to be there.
yeah, it was part of the graphic, and then they said, "And Mercedes and
Yeah.
Saturn now in it." And okay.
It was a little weird. Like, the match is gonna be good. I'm
Totally.
not complaining about the match. Like, Mercedes is great. Statlander is great. Like, they're probably two of the best women's wrestlers in AEW. So, like, I'm not mad at them being there. But I don't think they even necessarily needed to be there, other than the fact that they probably want to.
I 100% agree. We also had a new title this week.
Yeah, they realized someone in AEW didn't have a title, I think.
Yeah.
And they needed to put one on them. I think that's what it was. Like, Tony was looking at the roster going, oh, wait, this guy doesn't have a belt yet.
And we're going to put new in quotes because I'd eat my words in our group chat. I was all about this at the beginning. Like I told you in our group chat, they're like, oh, this brought back memories of like watching wrestling with my dad, and like the old title with the actual plate of the title was a cutout of the United States. Like, it was just the coolest looking title. And, you were like, oh yeah, but there's like so many titles. And I was like, I get all that, but like from the nostalgia point. And then like 4 seconds later, you texted me like, not only does the title still exist, it is owned by Nick Mondo, who is the current national champion of the NWA. And he
And
was
the
a
belt
little
is the same
offended.
belt. Like it's the
It's
actual belt.
same
Like,
exact belt. Yes. The belt that I had nostalgia for 35 seconds before that text came through. And like, okay, me and you always talk about Tony Khan, like not only having his fingers on the pulse of wrestling, but like he couldn't Google like
yeah.
national
Yeah, I didn't
champion.
know it existed. I literally Googled wrestling national champion because you were talking about it. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't really know that much about the belt. I'm gonna look it up. And like, yeah, it exists. It's already a belt.
and, and there's an actual champion, and it's Nick Mondo. So congratulations, Nick Mondo, for being the national champion. Um, that in itself was a hilarious story from our end. But like it's starting to get ridiculous.
And
Like,
also, like, this is supposed to be the. I do like the idea of them defending a belt, like
yeah,
in other companies, especially they have stronger agreements now with like
yeah,
Japan and CML. Like that, I like it. I think it's cool. But like, first of all, we have other belts, and also,
exactly.
why is the national title the one that's being defended internationally?
It's so dumb. Like, I
And I mean,
think
both MVP and Excalibur called it the international title because that makes sense.
exactly. It's it's just it's getting ridiculous, especially since this title actually exists. Like,
And because the international title still exists. Like I thought they merged
yeah,
it. I forgot that they didn't.
yeah,
But apparently, like the lineage of the international and the continental titles still exist. They're separate belts. And the
yes,
champion who owns the unified title has the right to, carry all of them if they want to. And like the AEW website has Okada on it 3 times
that
as
which is
champion.
hilarious.
Like,
And 3 times with 2 different poses, which
yeah.
I thought was they actually took the time. They just didn't put one belt down and just take
Right.
another picture. He's actually posing differently. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Like they could have easily have just said, oh, the C2 is coming up and Okada wants to put the continental title in the C2 and he's giving up the international title.
Right.
And then had that be this one and just do that. Like
right.
they didn't need to bring in another belt.
I totally agree. Now, you mentioned in our group text about should they make it like kind of like the Owen and like a tournament belt that is won every year but not defended?
Yeah, I think the continental title, like we win the C2, you get that belt, and like maybe you get a title shot or whatever, right? Like you get something out of it, and you get to carry that belt, like the Owen belt. But then you're not defending it the rest of the year because
right.
if it never really made sense to be like, oh, you can either win, 15 matches over the course of 3 months, or you could just like be in one match and the belt get the same belt. Like it's a little weird. Like they should just have it be like kind of like a trophy instead of a title that you defend, and like it would become worth something on its own just because you have to win this tournament to be in it. Like that's what it's for.
And then like if you won it, then like you're if you win in 2025, in 2026 you get like an automatic first round bye.
Sure. Yeah. And like you said, I think that it would be cool to have it like that could be the one that goes other places. Like
absolutely.
Have someone from CMLL win the C2 or someone from Japan win the C2 and then they have that belt.
Right. I mean, that would be, like I said, it would be awesome because you put it on AEW television, but like the tournament itself. And then for the next year, that belt on that, whoever it is, whatever company they're in, that wrestler, like it's going to be in all pictures on the internet. Like you're going to get that,
right.
The wrestler gets the rub of winning it and you're getting the free exposure internationally.
And then that's the prestige of it, right? You win this tournament, you get to carry this belt around with you everywhere you go and like have this belt to show people.
Yeah. And then like they could even put like, in the, I'm putting my fingers in air quotes here, like have something like you're also guaranteed if you win it, like maybe 3 pay-per-view matches or something. Yeah. And then just throughout the year, so you don't forget who, Mascara Dorada is or something. Like that would be fun because it would be different and like off the script of like how WWE writes storylines and TV. Yeah. And it would be cool for the fact that, hey, it means something, but it's not like, again, no disrespect because it's like a corporate thing, but like the TBS or TNT title is never going to be won by anybody outside of AEW.
Right.
And go to another company.
They have to be on the network. Yeah.
Yeah. But that, if you just do it like a tournament based thing, like that, and like I said, guarantee a couple pay-per-view matches or something. That's cool. That's interesting. And that's easy to pull off. Like it can go other places and not really, I don't want to say really matter, but like nobody has to see that every week.
And it solves the problem of it's always hard to have an AEW title go somewhere else because the chances of someone winning it somewhere else are pretty slim, right? They're not gonna take the TNT title to England and lose it at a Rev Pro show that's not on TNT. Like that's probably not gonna happen.
Right.
No, or very unlikely. But if it's not actually on the line and you just get to carry it around with you, then you could lose and it doesn't matter because you're still a champion.
Yeah, you're still a champion and you still have that, like it doesn't matter. I get to be an all in, like I'm not in the main event, but I get to be in front of 60,000 people or, that's cool. Yeah. I hope they do something like that. That just excited me. That's fun to think about.
And like, I do, like I said, I like the idea of it traveling. I just think like once I got into thinking about this, it made me think, is AEW the way they're handling belts? Have they kind of just been doing it wrong for a while? And I'm going to try to explain myself.
Okay.
The way I think generally singles title should work in most companies is like you have the top title, the world title. That's like the one that everybody should want. And then there's like an upper mid card title where you're not quite ready for the main title. So this is your title. Yeah. And then there's like a lower one that like maybe it competes for more often, or it's just like a lower card title. And they had that. They had like the world title, the international title, and the TNT title. So the world title was what everybody wanted. And then the international title was like, oh, you're not quite ready for the main event, but you deserve a belt. And then like the TNT belt was like the TV title. Like you defend it all the time. It changes hands more often. It's like for lower card guys. And it could change more often. You could have a new champion every couple months and it wouldn't affect it. But they keep trying to make the lower titles too prestigious, if that makes sense. Like, remember when the TNT title came out and Cody was just like, this is just like the world title. Like, no, it's not. It's not.
Yeah. Like I forgot about that.
It's not. Right. And but they tried it. They tried to make it like that. And then like Orange Cassidy, I think, made the international title too good. Like he defended it too much and made it
that's true.
Worth too much to the point where like Mox and MJF and Ospreay and Kenny Omega were going like they shouldn't be challenging for that belt. That shouldn't be a Kenny Omega Will Ospreay title. That should be like a slightly lower down the card title because Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay should be going for the world title or no title, right? I feel like now they're kind of using the other titles as these are for main event guys who deserve the title, but we don't want them to have the world title right now.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like Mercedes, she shouldn't be the TBS champion.
Not at all.
Like she's way too good for that belt.
Yeah. She's been a great champion, and I'm going to sound negative when I say this. I don't want to say I disliked her reign, but I don't want to say it never sat well with me either. I just haven't really personally. I thought that belt could be on somebody else to mean a little more. Like right now, legitimately has 11 more belts. And if she didn't have like the entourage of trainees carrying them out, like you'd barely see the title.
Right.
And the whole point of that is, like you said, it's like, it's basically a women's TV title. Like it shouldn't be with no offense to Rev Pro, but it shouldn't be with the Rev Pro women's title and the, whatever title. It should just be that title for that show even.
Yeah. Like right now, it kind of just seems like an accessory to her.
Exactly. Again, not that it's bad either. Like it's been a fun story, and now she's the longest reigning, and she, but she's gonna, that's gonna be the major step. Like she's gonna lose the titles eventually,
and she's like world title level. She's in a world title match.
Totally.
She's facing Chris. Like she had another world title. She faced Tony. Like she should be in world title feuds and not the TBS. Like the TBS title. And I'm not trying to offend anybody,
right?
But like Mina or Sky Blue, someone at that level should be fighting for the TBS title. Like they're not. Sky Blue is not going to be world champion, but like she could be a TBS champion. Like that would make sense.
Totally.
Like,
I agree with that.
It should be at like that level where like, oh yeah, they're not going to be world champion, but they need something to fight for.
I 100% agree with you. I know
I
that
think
makes
like
no
Kyle
sense.
Fletcher is doing it okay. He's doing a decent job. Like he's fighting Mark Briscoe. They're
Oh
not
yeah.
main event. They're not main event guys. They're entertaining. They're good wrestlers. People want to see them. But like Mark Briscoe is not going to be AEW World Champion. So it makes sense. He's going for the TNT title. That one fits. But
Yeah.
everything else seems a little like either too prestigious or not prestigious enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I'm being a bad debater here, just agreeing with everything that you're saying. But yeah, like I really can't disagree with you on anything because I do feel the same way. It's I mean, I understand people are like there's the side of like, well, look how many belts are in UFC.
Sure.
And that's a great point, but UFC has a thing called weight classes, and then
Right.
each weight class has, X amount of people in it. And if you actually watch UFC pay-per-views, like literally every match on the main card is probably for a belt.
Right.
So your undercard, which also UFC pay-per-views start at like 6 in the afternoon and go to like 1 in the morning
Right.
because they have so many people. Like if you want belts to be that prestigious, you're either going to have to settle for longer, way more drawn out shows and storylines, or you're going to have a pay-per-view that's 17 and a half hours long
Yeah.
because the first 6.5 hours aren't going to matter. Like,
Or you do what they've been doing now, which I kind of don't like, is the lower card champions keep challenging the other champions, right? Like Kyle Fletcher faced Hangman, or
yeah,
Mercedes is now facing Stat, like, but then lose the other belt. Like I get like Kyle
yes,
should be fighting Hangman or Mercedes should be fighting, but like then lose the other belt and go
yeah,
after the belt above it, right?
yeah,
Like there should be some kind of, it can happen once in a while, like you win a tournament or you
right,
do
right.
something, but like it shouldn't be the norm where like your champions are fighting your champions.
Agreed. And sometimes, like we always say that, like AEW is it's just different. It's your I can't think of the word right now, but it's your other choice.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like the WWE formula isn't bad.
Right.
And when you look at like the Intercontinental title, like someone like Shawn Michaels, I mean, it was huge when he won the Intercontinental title, but when he lost it, you weren't sad. You knew that was, oh, okay, he's going to be the world champion one day.
Yeah. Like I remember they had John Cena as the US champion and then he lost it to like Carlito and everyone is just like, well, he's clearly better than Carlito, but you're like, oh, he lost it to Carlito so that he can challenge for the world title. And
Right.
that made sense.
Yeah. Like, I might be very WWE negative on this in general, but like sometimes their formula works and for a reason. And
Yeah. I mean,
you know,
they watered down their belts in a different way. Like they had
yeah,
they had a world title and then a universal title and then they had a unified title and then another world title. Like they also did that, right? Like they had that same problem where they're like, oh, we're going to make a bunch of other titles, but like that doesn't mean AEW can't also have a problem just because you know
totally,
what I mean? Like
totally. And like I I'm gonna say Tony has handled it well, but like at this point you're creating a problem, like
right,
not a major problem, but it's something that you shouldn't have to handle well because it just
yeah.
shouldn't exist. If that
Like
makes any
in
sense.
an ideal world, I would have the Continental title be like just the tournament
Yeah.
championship.
Uh huh.
And then like Hangman would be world champion, like Kyle Fletcher would be international champion because he's like close to main event. I feel like that
Yeah.
should be the close to
Yeah.
main event, but not main
Yeah.
event. And then someone like, I don't know, Hook could be TNT champion, right? Like
Yeah.
he's not in the main event, but he's something. Like that would make more sense to be like Okada doesn't need a belt unless it's the world title. Like he's a main event guy.
True. True.
He should be either in the world title or doing something completely unrelated to the world title.
Yeah. Especially this far in, I could see if it was like his first year.
Yeah, they're like trying.
Like
Oh, people who don't know who
no.
Okada is, like give him
Right.
a year-long title reign so that everyone, thinks
Yeah.
he's important.
And now, like, I mean, even if you're new, like Okada's part of the program, like you're still going to see him every week. You'll understand, like
Right.
it's again, it's a weird problem to have, and I mean, it's kind of self-inflicted. I guess. I
And
don't know.
him having a belt isn't adding to anything anymore. Like he has a feud with Takeshita, which I like, and it's good.
Oh, it's real good.
But him having the Continental title or the unified title means nothing to the feud. Like the feud is that
Unless
Don Callis had like the greatest Japanese wrestler, and then replaced him with the other greatest Japanese. Like that's the feud,
Yeah.
right? Like that's why they're fighting. And Takeshita holding the IWGP title matters for this feud because that's the title that Okada held more than anybody else,
Right.
right? So like, it makes sense that like, oh, they're Okada's saying he's a better wrestler than Takeshita, but Takeshita's holding the belt that he held, being like, no, now that you were the greatest wrestler, but look, I have the thing that you had, and I like
Oh,
that means more than the unified title.
I agree. Now, they haven't announced the match yet, have they?
I don't think so.
When they do, is it title for title?
Maybe. I don't know because I guess I guess they could do that. They could put the Continental title on the line, and then Takeshita wins it, and then Okada
Right.
can't be in the tournament because, like, say he doesn't, you have to have the belt or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't qualify for the tournament. That
Oh,
could be a thing.
that'd be
Like, that could
awesome.
be a thing. But
Anyways, speaking of storylines,
yeah, that's our main thing. Is
yes,
the titles have been kind of the way to make the everything more interesting, right? Like, oh, it makes the batch better to have a title involved.
yeah.
And that made us think of like, there's a lot of TV, like wrestling's on 52 weeks a year. There's 2 shows a week, lots of pay-per-views. How do you make it so like all those shows mean something?
Well, um, I took I took the super mega fan as myself, uh, my side, and I chose the AEW expanded universe and how like it exists, but kind of like the Marvel expanded universe. Like you don't have to watch it. If you go and see um the new Spider-Man and there might be a character that you don't know who they are, but like if you watched the Disney Plus bonus show, like, oh, that was so and so from that
Right.
show. It doesn't affect the plot at all. It doesn't, but
Right.
it exists in that universe. And like I think AEW is doing a very good job in like well, I'm going to start with Ring of Honor. First off, like people saying that it's a developmental, I hate the word developmental. Like to me, it's just a separate company within the brand of AEW. For the fact, if you say it's developmental, then oh, the Ring of Honor World Champion, what does that just like less than the TNT title then? Like because it's developmental, right? It means nothing compared to like
Yeah,
the big league.
I like the idea of it being like an expanded, like
Yeah,
if you want more of this, there's a lot of AEW, but if you want more, you can watch
right.
this other show that's like, but you don't
It,
have to. Like, I
it,
don't watch it and it's
right.
fine. But if you want to, you can. Like, I like that idea of it better.
And like there are a lot of people that are I'm going to keep using quotes when I say developmental, but these are like indie wrestlers with like 10, 12 years experience. So well, some people come from the what's Cody's wrestling school, the Nightmare Factory.
Yeah.
Um
But generally it's people who don't have like TV experience.
Correct. Um it's for like the storylines. You have people like I talked about Blake Christian and Lee Johnson, a few weeks before they made it onto Collision TV. Uh Khan and Toa from what's their group called with
Oh, the demand.
the
Gates of
Demand.
Agony, the demand.
Yeah, yeah, Gates of Agony. They came from Ring of Honor and like Billy Starks with Athena. And on Ring of Honor TV, like Blake Christian and Lee Johnson are going for the titles. Gates of Agony were Ring of Honor tag titles, tag champions, excuse me. Billy Starks was the first ever women's television champion. When they got called up to AEW, they weren't looked at as like, oh, look, these are pieces of trash that are just in Ring of Honor and got squashed and like buried. You know, they did lose matches and they were lower on the card, but if you watched it, I'm going to use expanded universe. If you watch the expanded universe, you knew that they weren't just local talent. Like
Right.
there's like basically an unsaid backstory to those people being there.
And that you can always play on later. Like you can,
Right.
if 6 months from now Athena's in something, you can show a clip of her doing something in Ring of Honor with Billy Starks that like
Right.
make it mean more. Yeah.
And like I always go back to the night that Action Andretti beat Jericho. they didn't have Ring of Honor then, but say they did, like, yes, it was still a shock, but like, say he could have been on like a 10 match win streak on Ring of Honor, which got him that match with Jericho. And then when he wins, if you're watching Ring of Honor, you're like, oh, dude, he's been killing. Or
Yeah.
if not, you're like, oh, wow, who's this guy? Geez, he's just a rookie. Like, it, the way that they're doing it, I think I don't want to say it's better than WWE because it's developmental, because I do believe WWE is using NXT as legit a stepping stone, and just totally that's what it's always going to be, is
Yeah.
below WWE. And that's their prerogative. That's fine. But just because you have two companies doesn't mean that one's less than the other. And they're treating Ring of Honor, and again, I'm going to use air quotes when I say equal to AEW, but they're not putting it below AEW, let's say.
Yeah. And it makes sense. It does make it, you're right. Like if you watch Ring of Honor all the time and then someone from Ring of Honor shows up in AEW, you're like, oh, that's cool. I've seen him over the last year do whatever and whatever and whatever. And now he's doing something in AEW. And that was going to make you want to keep watching Ring of Honor because like, oh, now I don't want to miss the next guy, right? The next guy who's going to do something or the next cool thing. That is cool. I do like that. I don't watch Ring of Honor, so that doesn't really mean anything to me, but that's cool that it's there because I said this to you this morning, that one of the things that I think Tony Khan might do is I think he's a similar wrestling fan to the way you're a wrestling fan, is that he wants wrestling all the time, like 24/7. There can't be enough wrestling, right? He always wants more stuff and more things, which is cool. Like I love that he loves wrestling that much and that he cares about it that much.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes he forgets that not everybody's like that.
I agree.
And in his eyes, you're like, oh, I can't have too many titles or too many gimmick matches or too many 20-minute amazing classic matches because I would watch them all the time. I love these. I want to see them all the time. And not everybody necessarily wants to do that. Like I don't watch the Marvel movies mostly because I feel like if I have to watch 36 movies to understand, I'm not going to do it. Like I'm just not. Like, I'm not ever going to do that. So I don't necessarily need to see 15 titles and 12 20-minute matches on every episode of AEW. So I like them using Ring of Honor for that. Because if you want that,
yes,
there's a whole other show and a whole other thing that you can watch that will give you that. And if you don't want that, that's fine. You don't have to watch it. Like there's a whole other that you could just watch Dynamite, right, and get what you want. Because otherwise, if it was just Dynamite, I do feel like they overdo things. I've said this before. Like, I don't think every match needs to be 20 minutes long. Like,
I totally agree with that.
It doesn't need to be. Like, there's matches when you know who's going to win. And I can't think of an example, but say it's like, the Hurt Syndicate against, I don't know.
The Bang Bang Gang or something.
Sure. Right. Like, yeah, who's going to win that match, most likely. Right. Or like, Moxley versus Roderick Strong. Like I like Roderick Strong. He's a good wrestler, but he's probably not beating Jon Moxley. And if he did, it would be a big deal.
Right.
So I don't need that match to be 25 minutes between Mox and Roderick Strong. I need I understand not squashing him. Like Roderick Strong is a good wrestler. You want him to have a good showing. You want him to do well. But like it could be 10 minutes.
I was just gonna say you could do that in 10, 12 minutes.
Yeah. And that would be good. Like I would enjoy that.
Yeah.
So Tony Khan does have a tendency to overdo stuff. And you're right that Ring of Honor solves that problem a little bit because then you don't, as someone who watches Dynamite, you don't need to watch, all that stuff if you don't want to.
Right.
What I was thinking about was, speaking of long things and overdoing things, like I got more into baseball this year than I've been into baseball for, 20 years. Incredible. And we were talking about a little bit at the beginning with the Jays winning the World Series. On losing the World Series, sorry. The baseball season's long, right? It's the longest one. There's 162 games. It's a long season, and like at the end, only the Dodgers seem to win, right? Like it doesn't. So like none of the other teams win, right? You don't win, but you still have to go through 162 games of watching this, and so not everybody who's watching it is watching it because their team's going to win the championship, because you're probably not. Like only one team does.
Wait, the Pirates don't have a chance? Come on. Sorry, go ahead. I mean, that's the joke. That's just the Pirates are ass. Go ahead.
So the reason you watch all these games, or one of the reasons, is like there's other stuff happening, right? There's like storylines, there's personalities, like there's individual rivalries. There's like, oh, they're on a 10-game winning streak. Can they keep the winning streak going? Or like, the last time they played, this thing happened. So like, is it going to happen again? That doesn't need a belt. or a title. Like that's not the World Series. But like when who's the Pirates' rival? Who's like their big rival?
Reds.
So if like they're playing the Reds, that game naturally will mean more than if they're playing, the Blue Jays, for example, right? Like that game doesn't mean really anything. So like if the Jays are playing the Yankees, that matters more. And that's like a storyline thing, not a champion. Like you don't win more for beating your rival, but like you want to see that more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Like we're hockey fans. Yesterday, Washington and Pittsburgh played, and it was like a game in November. That means nothing. Like it's November, it doesn't really mean anything. But like I watched it because like it's Washington and Pittsburgh. It's Crosby and Ovechkin. Like that matters more than like Pittsburgh and Nashville. Even though it's worth the same in the standings, and it doesn't really mean more. It just does because you care about like the people involved and the history and the rivalries. And I think instead of going like overkill with the titles and the gimmick matches and the long matches, like that's the sort of stuff that people care about, right? Like you cared about Hangman winning it all in, yeah, because he got the belt, but also because of the story, like with him and Mox, and that meant something to people.
I totally agree, and you just segued me into my number 2 reason for the expanded universe.
All right.
The fact that the talent has like the ability to exist outside of the company, and pretty much their only rule from Tony is just don't embarrass the company. You're allowed to have YouTube channels and like your vlogs, and like some of the stuff's in character and some of the stuff is just totally real life. And Sammy's vlog to me is like the perfect mix of well, it's more real life now because it's based around his marriage and his daughter that him and Ty have. But at first it was like, oh, it would be like after Dynamite and they'd be on their way to Wendy's or something, and it would just be like fun seeing that these people exist outside of their character, and like seeing a little bit of their real life. The other side of that too is being able to like own actual businesses and do other things. Like Evil Uno runs and owns a full-blown wrestling company, which everybody should watch, Mystery Wrestling. It's incredible. And like that would never be allowed in WWE. Like, I mean, it's just like letting people be people. And just to, you can go to Being the Elite. We always talk about that on here. Again, something you don't watch, but you don't have to. You still understand the Bucks, you still understand the characters, you still understand the storylines. But if you watch it, again, there might be something when they're coming down to the ring, like Nickel trip and fall. But if you saw on BTE, it's because he stepped on a nail on his way off like, you know what I mean? Like the fact that that's allowed to exist is not only a breath of fresh air, but it's just more fun in the grand scheme of things.
You're right. It is the people. Like back to the baseball thing. Like I've never watched this much baseball in my life, but like when you watch this much baseball, you start to, especially baseball is different from hockey because baseball seems to be very individualized, right? It's a batter and a pitcher against each, like, and you know who they are, and like. So like you watch that and you're like, oh yeah, this guy has this or whatever. You like, about his family, about his, whatever he did because he posted on Instagram or whatever, and about that. And like that stuff matters more when like a guy that you kind of know about and care about as an individual wins something. Then you're just like, oh yeah, that guy did it. I'm glad that guy did it. And it's not just faceless guy in a Blue Jays jersey. It's like, oh, I wanted that guy to do it because I knew something about him. And like it's this kind of the same. Like if Sammy wins the world title and you've been following Sammy's whole thing on YouTube or whatever, and now he wins the world title, you're like, oh, I know how much that means to him, more so than just like somebody else winning the world title.
Right. And it's awesome that you brought up Sammy. I think he posted like on his Instagram or something, like people were complaining that he was on the pre-show for All In, and it was before everything changed and they got the match, blah blah blah, you know what I mean? And he was like, do you realize how much it means to me that the fact that I'm just wrestling in the stadium, like,
Right.
I don't care if I was like, special guest referee, like the
Right.
fact that I'm there in my home state, like, and people saw that ride, like, you know, if you followed, how much that meant to him. That was a perfect example. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
And that's, I mean, now that you mention it, that's part of like the Hangman All In moment was probably the best moment AEW's had, or one of them, right?
yeah.
Hangman winning the belt at All In. That was like a huge moment. And part of that was the story they told you on TV of like Hangman, losing his mind and going, going to the dark side and then coming back. And like
Mhm.
part of that was that. But there also was a part of it that if you paid attention and listened to all the backstage stuff, which we do, like Hangman got in that whole thing with Punk and then lost the belt
Yeah.
and never got a chance to get it back. And like that was a whole thing where everyone thought, oh, the feeling of AEW is gone because Hangman was my guy and he lost. And then
Right.
all that nonsense that happened. And like there was a feeling of like, oh, yeah, we put up with all of that. And so did he. And now we're like all with him as he tries to get it back.
Yes.
And like that was
Oh,
on the screen, but it was also like real. It was also actual life.
yeah.
Right. So that sort of stuff is what makes things matter to me more than like if Okada has the, whatever title. Like that doesn't really mean that much to me. But like if not Okada, but say a wrestler broke their leg, like Statlander. I
Yeah.
think that's why people were so happy when Statlander won the women's title. Like, yes, she's a great wrestler and you'd like to see her win. But everyone also knows she had like double knee surgery and
Yes.
she's been through
Everything
all
she
that.
went through. Right.
And like that now made it more meaningful when she wins. And that made it more meaningful to see what she's going to do with it. And I think that's how you make the shows matter more. Like you care about the characters. And like you don't have to care about the people outside of wrestling. Like you don't if you don't want to.
100%.
Right? Like, but they have to make you care at least about the character. And people
Right.
care about Hangman. That's why they were happy. People care about Chris Statlander. That's why they were happy. And I think you can have great matches, and AEW has great matches every single week. Like they do. Every single week, there's a match that 10 years ago, you would never see on TV.
Yes.
But the point is like, you can only do that so often where like, I know it's going to be an awesome match, but like the bar has been set now, right? Like the bar has been set at awesome match. And if it's not an awesome match now, I'm disappointed. Right. So like,
True.
now you kind of need to do a little bit more. Like it's not just awesome match. Now it's awesome match with an awesome story or an awesome character or something else that like makes you want to watch it. And like the Marvel movies, I think are a great example because people don't watch those. I mean, some people do, but you might watch them because like, oh, there's so many cool special effects. It just looks really cool, right? Like it looks awesome to see whatever they're doing in the movie. Like that's cool. But you also watch it because there's a story there that you're invested in because you've watched 10 other movies and you know all about these characters and what they're doing. And like that makes it meaningful. It's not like any movie could have a cool explosion or a
100%.
great special effect. And they're not Marvel movies because they don't have that long-term association.
And well, that my final point, dude, did you steal my notes? uh the last one is acknowledging talent's accomplishments, like not only from their real life, but from other companies. Like,
Right.
um, you know, when they talk about Bobby Lashley, they call him a former world champion. Like, if it was the other way and he was a AEW champion that went to WWE, they'd be like, oh, well, it's his first time as a world champion.
Yeah,
Like,
like CM Punk won the WWE World Title, whatever it's called, the other one, not the main one. And they're like, "Oh, he's a 6-time world champion." I'm like, "He's actually like an 8-time world champion."
exactly.
They just ignored a couple of them because they don't want to talk about them. Yeah,
And like the fact that, that is allowed, again, that we're in the year 2025 and you can't like recognize that other things exist. Like, again, we always use the pro sports analogy. Like there are guys that win championships and they don't come into a locker room that maybe the team never won a championship. And they're like, oh, well, that guy's not a champion because he's on our team now. Like you never
like
won
again,
that.
the World Series. Like there's a pitcher Yamamoto on the Dodgers who was in Japan until like last year or the year before. Like he spent a lot of his career in Japan as a pitcher.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, oh, he won the Japanese equivalent of the Cy Young Award. And like, that's all you have to tell me because like, oh, he won something. And like, don't pretend like that didn't happen. You don't have to name the award or the company or fine, but just be like, oh, he won the Japanese equivalent of the Cy Young. You're like, oh, this guy's accomplished. He's won things.
Yes. And again, that wasn't a shot at WWE. That was just how AEW does things differently. Um, and I mean, yes, it is a breath of fresh air, but the fact that they stayed true to their guns and found their own path over these 6 years, and to keep things, this interesting. We just talked, and we talk every week about the shows and, the goings on. So, it's not like it's getting stale. Like what they're doing, I'm glad they stuck to it and didn't fall into what normally happens with a wrestling company. It's, oh, things are starting to slide a little bit. Well, the other place does it this way and they're worth $9 trillion. So
Yeah.
we
At least
should do it too.
like, I'll be honest, that since All In, I thought it's been a bit less interesting to me personally. Like they've had a lot of rematches. I know there's been injuries, like
Yeah.
Osprey's out and like Swerve, and they're great and like they're hard to replace. It's
Mhm.
been slightly less and All In was like their big show. So like of course that's gonna be their big, there's
Right.
always like we talked
It's the big
about
blow off.
like we talked about in baseball. You watch the World Series and you're like, oh, the game one against whoever, like they're playing the A's. Who cares? Right?
Yeah.
Like that. I get it. Like that happens. But you're right. They haven't changed who they are or what they're doing. It's not like they jumped into like being, oh, people didn't watch that much last week. Let's be a totally different company. They
Yeah.
haven't done that, which I like.
Yeah, it's totally, they've stuck to their roots. They've stuck the nose to the grindstone and earned it. For some reason in wrestling, anybody ever talks about is respect. You got to respect this. You got to respect that. I think AEW respects more than any other company alive in the business, yet gets zero credit for it.
Yeah, it's true. And they give respect to the rest. They give mentioning the histories is also respect for the fans, right? Because
you're not thinking you're stupid.
When Bobby Lashley showed up, like very few people didn't know who he was.
Exactly.
Even if you didn't watch WWE, you knew he was there and he was a wrestler there, or he was in TNA or whatever. Like you knew something about him. And to pretend like, oh my God, who is this guy? Like we all know. Don't act like he's brand new and no one's ever heard of him before. Like he's a wrestler, and now he's here. That's the interesting part.
Right.
Like when we go to hockey, when the Penguins traded for like Phil Kessel, they weren't like, this is a brand new guy. Like, no, he's been in the league from 10 years. I've seen him do a bunch of stuff.
He's a rookie at 32. Yeah. It's the fact that pro wrestling insists on being like pro sports until it has to be like pro sports, and then it just turns back into pro wrestling is, I think, my favorite thing about it. Like, because no matter what, it can't ever escape its shadow.
But yeah, I will say, I'm still watching the shows. I like the shows. The shows are always good, like AEW. But I think the bar has been set really high now.
Totally.
Like I'm like, of course you had 5 great matches on Dynamite. Like that's what I expect from you at this point. So I feel like they have to keep raising it, and I think they will. Like they are in a slightly not downtime, but like a less interesting time now. But like.
They're in the setup period.
Yeah, it's a setup period. Yeah, that's right. That's a good. That's a good
like
way
you
to phrase
said.
it.
They just, we just had All In just 3 months ago. August, September, October. Yeah, it'll be November. It'll be 3 months. So like, now you're setting up for what World's End's the last one, right?
Yeah, and you're right. It can't always be the Stanley Cup final like that.
Right.
And then that becomes the bar, and then you have to raise it again anyway. So like,
yeah. So you're like on a 3-month cycle. Like we're going into Full Gear here for November. Like, Full Gear is going to be awesome, but like World's End we'll probably get maybe 2 or 3 blow off matches,
right?
Like just at that pay-per-view. So,
yeah. And I know when we were talking about this like offline, I was like, oh, you can't just have championships all the time. And you're like, oh, but the NBA has the NBA Cup, and I'm like, yeah, that's also dumb.
It's dumb, but yeah.
Like you can't. Everything can't be a champion. Everything can't be the Stanley Cup final.
Exactly.
Because then it's pointless. Like, are you actually telling me that this NBA Cup is just as good as the NBA final? Fine. If it is, then that's the new bar. Then everything has to be that. And it can't. Like, that's impossible.
Yeah, like that's the one thing I don't understand. It's a mid-season championship, but I don't think you get anything other than a trophy. Like it doesn't.
Right, and the games are just like regular season games. They just count as like a regular season game.
Yeah,
it's very odd.
I mean, again, I think outside of the box, see what works.
I get what they're trying to do. Like I do.
Yeah,
I find it weird.
But yeah, I also find it weird. And, maybe we're just the old men in the room now because it wasn't like that when I was young.
It seems like a Tony Khan thing, though. Like, hey, you know what we could do? Have another title. Just throw another title in there. That'll help.
A mid-match title. Like, it can only be defended once a match has started.
And like you don't get to determine when it is. Like somewhere in the middle of the match, they're like, no, it's for this belt. Like,
right. And then all of a sudden everything gets real serious. Like, oh shit, I was losing. Like,
well, I didn't know it was for the belt. Well, now I can't.
Yeah. You didn't tell me. Oh, now see, that would be funny.
That would be funny.
See, that's why you need to watch Mystery Wrestling, because they have things happen like that. Like, the funniest Mystery Wrestling moment ever is they had a Falls Count Somewhere match and they had to figure out where it was.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yes. So like the referee, like a guy pinned somebody, be like, nope.
See, there's definitely room in wrestling for stuff like that. Everything can't, like, that's was my knock on Mox for the longest time. It's everything can't be like deathly serious at all times.
Yes.
Because then, like, it doesn't have to be. Like, sometimes things are funny, and like let things be funny sometimes.
Yeah. And speaking of the second best Mystery Wrestling match was the Extremely Ruled match, which like, I'm pretty sure that, like, as a joke, obviously the referee had the rule book and he'd like flip through and be like, no, that's illegal.
That's pretty good.
Dude, you'd love Mystery Wrestling. It's basically it's basically The Simpsons, but with wrestling.
I like that.
Sasquatch is an actual character who wrestles. They have a guy that's totally alive and not dead who just lays in the ring. Yeah, dude, it's they're the champion, Psycho Mike. His gimmick is that he has a doctor's note and he's a piece of shit. That's no. And he's like, what's official? It's from a doctor. It's like, oh, well, it must be. And then it's like, it's the greatest. It's like the greatest 2 hours every other month. You should watch it. Like,
nice.
I'd say have the kid come, but every once in a while, like an F bomb is dropped.
Right.
but he would appreciate the matches because they're all funny.
Yeah, that's fun. I like that.
Yeah. So, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I'm good. I thought it was a good show. I'm interested to see where AEW goes, because it seems like there's a lot of rematches and stuff happening, but I know they're gearing up for something. So I'm interested to see what that is.
Same. So yeah, like we got Collision coming up tomorrow night and then Blood and Guts next week. So everybody.
Oh yeah, we have next week's Blood and Guts. We have I don't know if anyone remembers last year we had our friend Ryan come in and watch AEW for the first time, watch wrestling for the first time,
which is incredible.
And then he hasn't watched it for another year. So
we're making him watch Blood and Guts.
We're making him watch Blood and Guts, and we're going to see what he thinks of that. So that'll be fun.
Yes, he will either be appalled. Did you warn him about anything, or is he going in blind?
All I said was like, "Are you upset with like violence?" And he said no. So
that's fair. That's fair.
We'll see.
Yeah, because I was going to say, sending him in blind. I mean, I'm all for it to be hilarious, but he might be mad at us.
Yeah, I feel like I had to tell him it's violent and it is called Blood and Guts. So
also true. If you didn't get the memo. Yeah. So it'll be a little bit of a special episode next week. So expect a very, very surprised man. I mean, it won't be Rick or I.
Yeah, it'll be fun then.
It'll be very fun. Don't forget, we are at Elite City Pod on all social media. The YouTube crowd, thank you. Last week you did really good. Keep it up.
Yeah, thanks for your comments and stuff. Even if you're fighting with each other, be nice though. Don't be mean. But thank you for your comments.
Oh, weird. I haven't logged in to check the comments.
Yeah, there were some comments. That was pretty good. People actually talked about stuff. It was fun.
Nice. I didn't know they were yelling at each other though. Yeah, come on.
Not really. I mean, it's the internet, right? So you're always
that's also true.
Who's being a jerk. But generally, I appreciated them.
Awesome. So yeah, make sure to leave a thumbs up and more comments, please. And I'll pay attention this week, and maybe I will answer them, but I'll just pay attention. So yeah, until next week, it'll probably be later in the week because obviously we're going to wait till after the show.
Yeah.
So, like this week, it'll be at the end of the week. Maybe by the weekend, you guys will have the new episode. So, until then, we'll see y'all. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy the wrestling. So until then, later.